Right, Fiesta saga continues. Took the engine and gearbox out. You have to take them out as a lump, so you have to take some of the suspension out. Basically it's only 2 bolts for 6 bolts hold the engine in. 1 there, 1 over there, 2 at the back, 2 at the front on the cradle. So you have to get your suspension out of the way, and you have to release the suspension struts to get the drive shafts out the hubs.
Sure.
Then basically you put a jack underneath it, undo it, and it all falls out the bottom, which is how they were designed to be worked on. So the engine bay looks in very good condition. Customer's been down, Adam's been down. He wants to come down and clean out all the inside, which is fine. Saves him labour charge, and it's he'll get it how he wants it then.
Yeah.
Because some people's idea of what they want are different from others, you know. Things like that's been painted. That's been painted. The steering rack's been painted. These brackets down here have been painted. They should all be satin black, not gloss black. The brake lines are terrible, whoever made them. So we can join them underneath. They should be steel and they should be painted green if I remember rightly, but they never had curves like that. They were all nice sharp angles,
yeah.
Which we can do. So he wants to do that, which is fine. I've recommended he has 2 new front wheel bearings while it's out, and that bottom wishbone over there, you can't really see it from here, but it's bent.
Okay.
So that needs changing, but there's probably only 15 quid or something like that, you know, there's no money in it. So you might as well do the bits while it's out and get it correct, you know. So that's the engine bay saga really, which isn't too bad. Some of the wiring, I mean, you can take all the wiring loom out, clean it all up, just wipe it down with a thinner's rag, you know, and it'll get all the dust and stuff off of it where it's been painted before. It's got some bad taping on it, take that off, make it look a lot better, you know.
I suppose the big question is, why is the engine out in the first place?
Because it's broken. No, got it in. Right, it wasn't running properly.
Yeah.
So started it up. Fault diagnosis first of all was carburetor.
Yeah.
Then pretty certain the head gasket had gone. But I'll show you the findings in a minute. The top hose is about that round, and after being running for about 5 minutes, it was about that round.
Oh right, okay.
Which is generally exhaust gases pressurising the cooling system.
Yeah.
Because the exhaust is escaping into the cooling system.
Yeah.
You can get a tester, it's a chemical tester. You just drop it in, it tells you if there's exhaust fumes in the water. Well, I haven't got one, which is silly, so I ought to get one of those. So I pulled the head off, and then the saga continued. You can get hold of the piston, should have, I think it was 0.7 of a thou to 1.5 thou clearance, and this is about 1/16 of an inch.
Alright.
So they're clanging around in the bores like a good one.
Yeah.
So that's obviously a rebore, new pistons, check the small ends while they're out. So then your next question is, I mean, when you rebuild an engine, me personally, always change the timing chain and the cogs, because they've been on there forever and they're no money.
Yeah.
Which, taking it apart, timing chain's knackered, because that just puts your valve timing out of time. Don't matter what you do with the ignition timing, if the valve timing's out, it'll never run perfectly.
Yeah.
So that's a sort of must. And obviously then check all of your crankshaft journals for if they're within tolerance of clearance. So what you do with that is stuff called plastic gauge.
Yeah.
Which is basically a bit of that. It's like a waxy plastic.
Yeah.
So you put that across your journal like that, and then you take one of your com rods. Obviously you match them to each journal. So that's the front of the engine, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pistons. You put that on there, you bolt that back down to its specified torque setting, and that spreads the plastic gauge to a certain width, and you get this that comes with the plastic gauge. So that's 2 thou, 1.5 thou, 1 thou, 2.5 thou. So we're looking 2 thou, yeah? It's nowhere near 1.5, 2 thou, 2.5's a lot under.
Yep.
So this is basically, it's 2 thou across the board, everything's mic'd up good.
Yep.
Or plastic gauged up good. Basic rule of thumb of tolerance or clearance is inch of journal to 1 thou of clearance.
Okay.
So these are all with just over and just under 2 inch. So 2 inch, 2 thou of clearance is absolutely bang on.
Okay, that's good.
So that's the crank will live. You always get a stain mark in here. I think the big ends are standard and the crank main bearings are +10.
Where's that stain come from then?
That's just oil,
Oh, okay.
because your bearing's got a groove in the middle of it to take the oil round.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So you've got your oil feed comes up through that hole. Okay? Comes up through there. That's your front one. And that groove allows the oil to run round. Those little holes there pressurise the oil and feed the cam bearings. So they'll go down into the cam bearings. 1, 2, 3. Or it might be on the main journal, I don't know. Till I get it all apart and clean it all. Because you've got the oil passage there, which I don't think is used on these. I think it's this side. But anyway, it all comes apart. That's basically, the bearings are okay. They've got that dull grey to them, which is about right. If they look speckled or anything like that, then they've broken up and reseated themselves. But they all look good. So that's good. So crank we got away with. All good. Pistons are absolutely terrible. Don't look that scored, to be fair, but you see that staining there, or not staining, you see that there? That's water in the oil. It's not sitting how oil should sit.
Right.
So that's water in the oil. See, the bottoms of these look strange to me, like somebody's been at them before. It's got chunks and things in it. So whether they were completely the wrong pistons and they ground them off, well, that looks like a cast mark. I don't know. They just don't look right to me, you know. And obviously all of that blow by is no good. The oil rings are pretty tight. Well, somebody might have put it together, even that. It's either got the wrong rings in it or they're the wrong pistons, I think. You can do funny things with these. I need to look at all the numbers, because you can use like a 1300 crank, put longer con rods in and 1600 pistons, and you can mismatch it all weird and wonderful ways to make a sort of a buzzy engine or a normal bog standard engine.
Oh, okay.
But being a crossflow, which they made millions of, but a Fiesta Mark 1, because all crossflows before the Fiesta were rear wheel drive, they converted it to front wheel drive, so the crank's different. It's got longer, it's basically the whole engine is 30mm shorter.
Okay.
But that is not on the block, it's on the crankshaft. So there's all sorts of weird and wonderful quirky things about them, so I've got to look it all up. See, the scoring doesn't look horrendous on there, but let's get a dry one actually, and I'll pop the rings off. Right. You should have a distance there as well of play, but that's just too big. Right, so that's the rings off of that one. Again, all the bottoms of these just, I would imagine if you're making a piston and you're casting it, it wouldn't be that rough. See, they've possibly ground those out to clear the crank webs. That's the only reason you do it, see? That fits up in there. Otherwise they clash.
Gosh.
So that's way more than your sort of thousandths of an inch you should have, you know. So that's never ever going to run right, no matter what you do.
No.
Yeah, actually when we'd finished playing around with it, it ran very well.
Really?
But white smoke out the back, which is water normally, and wasn't crisp enough, you know. You can hear it's just flat, doesn't matter what you do. We adjusted all the timing, but that, why the crank would have been done and then you put that in there like that, I really don't know. See, that's a massive amount of play in an engine. So that was that. So we're down to, we need a rebore. So that's the crank overview that I'll send over to Adam. So you've got front main, number 2, centre, number 4, rear. So 2 to 2.25 thou on that one, 2 thou, 2 thou, 2 thou, 2 to 2.5, which is not unusual for the flex on a crank either end, yeah?
Okay.
But that's 0.25 of a thousandth of an inch, isn't not even in the realms. So if it was a race engine, you'd open them up to 2.5, 3 thou clearance to let more oil in.
Okay.
So that's well within spec. End float, which is done by these on the centre main bearing cap, or it's actually in the block. They sit on the bottom, and that stops end-to-end thrust. On the crank, that's 5 thou, so that's well within tolerance, so that's good. Big ends, which is these ones, all at 2 thou, which is perfect basically, so that's all good. So I'll drop him an email just because he wanted to know what's going on, because he's a very eager customer. Bless him. Right, so parts, full gasket set at the moment, pistons, new valves, new valve guides, new cam, new followers. Because camshafts are funny things. So you've got all your lobes, yeah? So your cam goes in the engine there. Okay, and there's a plate which goes up in there. Okay?
Yeah.
And bolts to there. And that stops your camshaft walking.
Okay.
Now you can get what they call walking camshafts, but they either have a button in here normally and hold the camshaft back. What they're designed to do is these tappets, or cam followers, they're designed, every time the push rod goes up and down, these are designed to rotate.
Okay.
The way they operate. But these, can you see the dish in that and the sunlight? I mean, sunlight? Sun, what's that? See that mark there? That's water. Can you see it if I move it?
Yeah.
Like a hollow in it. Yeah, so you can imagine some camshafts, the exhaust lobe lift will be different to the inlet lobe lift. But I'm pretty sure these are all the same across the board. And that will pass across there nicely. That's loose as anything. That's loose as anything. That's okay. That's very loose. So that cam is worn out. So my suspicions, because I didn't measure it yesterday, I'd only just got it out, were correct. It just didn't look right to me. To me, if you spin that one, yeah, lobe up.
Up round there, yeah.
So that's lobe up.
Yeah.
And rotate that one. To me, that one looks higher and squarer across the top.
Okay.
And rotate it back. That looks rounded or an angle and lower.
Okay.
Again, that one looks mullered. Yeah, that camshaft's had it. It's normally, if you've done a lot of engines and stuff, you can tell by eye, it just doesn't look right.
Yeah.
You know, we're at a rebore, new pistons, obviously your gasket sets, all your big ends, all the crankshaft situation's fine. Followers look too dish to me. I mean, some are dished very, very, very slightly, but that's just wear and tear because it's not the original engine.
Okay.
We found that out. He looked on his logbook when he got home, and it isn't the correct engine number.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So it's got 59,000 on the clock, which you wouldn't expect an engine to be worn out at. Not realistically for a bog standard road going car, you know.
Yeah.
But that could have done, who knows?
Yeah.
You don't even know what it's out of. Well, I'm pretty sure it's out of a Mark 1 Fiesta, because the block casting number is 771M instead of 711M.
Right.
Because the 711M block is the one, if you're going to tune one of these, you want the 711M block. It's got thicker walls and things like that, you know, so you can get the rebores out a bit bigger on them. Right. Sure. We're down to gasket set, rebore, new pistons, new cam followers, new camshaft, new timing chain set, because that is add it.
Is it because it stretches and it's...
Yeah, it stretches, the teeth get worn on the cogs. I think it's 50 quid for the chain, the cogs and the 2 cogs, so it's not worth messing around with for the sake of 50 quid, you know. You get a new chain follower, new chain tensioner foot, because that's worn out as well. Just get a new one of them. It's been apart multiple times, this thing.
Really?
Yeah, it's full of silicone, you know, where they've tried to bodge all the gaskets up and stuff like that. I mean, to the point of whoever did it, get a new gasket set, don't try and use the old gaskets, it won't work. So that's the basic bottom end of the engine. Obviously you have to take the oil galleries out, I'll clean it all up, get it buzzed up, get the rebore done, and then you buy your pistons afterwards.
Okay.
You give the machine shop the standard bore size, and they will machine it to what they call is cleaned up.
Right.
So you can't estimate it. You can't say I need plus 20 pistons until it's been to the machine shop and they say no, we had to bore it to 40 to clean it out.
Fine.
So then you order your pistons, Burton's been going for years. I don't know how long, a long time. Very, very, very good company. Everything they do, just Ford basically, but they do so crossflow, pre-crossflow, crossflow, Pinto, Z-Tech, Duratec, BDA, twin cam, Lotus twin cam, CVH, Cosworth. So they supply parts for all of those engines.
Sure.
Used to be, many years ago, you could get an exchange lump for one of these for pennies because there were so many cars had them in. Yeah. And you'd find bits everywhere. I've scoured fairly reasonably well. Basically the only place you're going to get parts are from them.
Oh, okay.
You've got Harris Performance engines in Croydon, but one of these for a performance engine now is 7,000-8,000 quid.
Gosh.
So we can't even go there, you know. Again, I've got to check all the numbers on this. The valves come up as a standard GT head, but there's certain little giveaways that I'm not sure if it is, so I've got to look up all the numbers. So it should have, can't remember what sizes they were now, 39mm on an exhaust valve, and it was 34 on the other. Right, these should be 34 and these are like 33. The outside edge of a valve doesn't normally wear. These were 39, I think.
How critical is that then?
Critical. It doesn't fit in the hole. It doesn't matter where you cut your seats to. They could have just been cut down too much, you know, been relapsed, because ideally that grey area there you probably want smaller than that. You look at the land between that one, that and that land in the middle, look. And the other thing that gives it away, that I'm not sure if it is the right cylinder head, see the exhaust port sizes?
Yeah.
And they're smaller. See what I mean? They should marry. So your exhaust manifold, when it's on, that's the size of the hole that's in the exhaust manifold.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's not restricting flow, but I think this could be a 1300 head or something like that. I don't know. See, that one's quite a lot smaller. See it?
Yeah.
See it the same on there, look.
Yeah.
So I've just got to cross-reference a load of part numbers now and find out exactly what's going on, you know. Could be a 1300, could be a 1300 inlet manifold, could be a 13, you just don't know, you know. So what you do if you're tuning them, you sit down and you pour all of that out. There's no disturbance in the flow of the gases going in and the gases coming out.
Yeah.
Whether this is right or not, this is where it comes into your admin, which is faffing around for hours on end trying to find everything out, you know. Next thing, this number 3 was very, very, very wet when we took it apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, which can be fuel mixture, can be valve seating, it can be water in the engine. And what they've done is put the cylinder head on. Can you feel that there?
Mm.
That's a big lump of old cylinder head gasket. It don't matter how tight you do that up, the head gasket will leak. You can't have a chunk of something 20 thou thick in the middle of you, between the gasket and the engine, yeah? So that was never ever going to seal, no matter what you do. Could have valve blow by, I don't know. But you look at number 3 inlet, dry, 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 soaking wet. So that's probably water blowing back out the top of it. Okay, or it's getting blow by in the head somewhere and pressurising it up. So obviously when you get the head done, they pressure test them for you, so you know what's going on.
Yeah.
Might need a head skim, might need a face skim on the top of the block. The valve guides, which you can get, but these don't press out. So they're machined into the cylinder head. So you have to have them, you buy your new valve guides and you have that hole, you then machine that out to a press fit for the guide. But I don't think it'll be an issue. I mean, we've done some big straight 8s and V8s over the engines people were using. They say, don't really want to touch that, so take it to formals then, you know. But this is a bog standard.
Yeah.
They've been going for years, Sussex Engine Supplies, so they will know these things inside out, I would have thought. So I can't see that being a problem. It's had a head repair there, so that should be threaded, that hole there. But it's been badly welded, bodged up and hole drilled in it. So I need to check all the numbers, like I say, because there'll be casting numbers for everything.
Yeah.
You can find out exactly what that is. It's just something quirky in there, makes me feel it probably isn't a 1600 cylinder head. Yeah, so give it a clean up, get all the numbers, you can see where it's all been off. Look, that's been number 3 etched into it, which if you need to actually work out that that is number 3 piston, and that's the front of the engine, you need your head examined.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
It's not difficult, is it?
Just research work now. Did a couple of hours yesterday just finding all the parts, but when I ring these guys, I'm going to have to make sure that everything is compatible with a front wheel drive engine.
Yeah.
I'm pretty certain it is, because they state the gasket sets are different. Haven't looked into the cranks, I don't need to. But basically it was just the tail shaft of the crank and the nose of the crank that was 30mm shorter, I think 15mm either end. But everything else is just bog standard crossflow as far as I'm concerned. Like that stud shouldn't be in there, that's bent. Possibly it was a stuck engine and they, you know, the rings were stuck and they just bashed the pistons around to get it to work. Yeah, they've been hand sanded, that's not even done with a honer. And you've got ridges around there, could be a crack, you don't know until they get it in there and test it all. I'll give it a good clean up, do all the oil ways, get the core plugs out, and get it over there and see what they say.